if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off. Find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient and soon it can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently thrown across every surface. It makes me nervous, it's the world honestly burning. That's all I'm learning, hope that we can make a turn and start reversing all our minds and put the work in. We got some work, man. I started to do. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Gotta get through this, life is a nuisance, tie up some loose ends. I try to be human, find a solution, my evolution. A place like this, it didn't exist, we made it like this. So you can go pick the bad or the good, got a glass halfway. I know, it's easier to hide than just to lay low. Not everyone in life has got a halo. I'm standing in the red inside a payphone. Just wanna break, no, I'm not gonna give in. Take a last shot, Michael J. Win. No, I'm not a robot, I'm in my own skin. Never get lost when thoughts pull you in. I miss the old you, we died with a purpose. All the energy around me felt nervous, scared I would pop out fast to the surface. Had to cut it off before you made me worthless. Torn apart, I've been torn and scarred. I had a given art, but now I'm thinking smart. I'm keeping up my guard, I'm hiding every card. A royal flush of love, you never know what's hard. With a back to the mat, gonna see where I'm at. I'ma fight like I'm mad, I'ma be something that they can never be me. Nice try, but they'll see I achieve everything while they stay salty. I started to go. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through.
Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well. Welcome to this new trades breakdown lecture. Today I will be discussing the trade that you have just seen me take, which I took on the 20th of September 2024. Before we dive into the breakdown, I first want to discuss the following with you. It has been a while since I've really been sharing a lot of education on my YouTube channel. The reason why is because I wanted to showcase a lot of trades during the past few months. There are a lot of people nowadays on YouTube that go out there and they create model after model, video after video, showcasing this strategy or that strategy or whatever strategy they might use. And it seems like they trade 20 different strategies every single week, or 20 different strategies get created every single week. You get what I'm saying? Because it is the case, you of course get overwhelmed by the amount of different strategies. What I do is I purely trade based on time and price cycles. That is what I showcase every single week. And because it is the case, it might seem like my trading is very boring. And it might seem like, oh, he's doing the same stuff over and over again. Well, that's exactly how trading should be. When you come to the stage that trading gets boring and you're consistently doing the same things over and over again, it means that you know what your model is and you know exactly what you're looking for. My hope is that by watching these lectures, You will be able to get an understanding of how I view time and price, and you will be able to see what I see. I'm a young guy and I feel very grateful for everything that I see within these markets on a daily basis. Therefore, my desire is to share what I see with you, and that is what I will be focusing on going into the end of this year and going into 2025 as well. I'm here to make an impact on the world, and that is what I will be doing, so buckle up and enjoy the ride. Let's begin with today's breakdown. First of all, we need to take a look at the economic calendar for this day. What we can see is that on the 20th of September, there was no high impact news, meaning all week there was a lot of high impact news, and we even had the FOMC event. Therefore, on this Friday, we can see that there was only medium impact news for the door. For your info, I was only referring to the door because the door high impact news is the only high impact news I pay attention to for the index futures. Anyhow, medium impact news at 11:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. Therefore, my anticipation going into the day was already, okay, we're likely going to have a range-bound day after having reached key buy-side liquidity objectives from the higher time frames. This means that I anticipate the market to just go back and forth. Here you can see a post that I made on my mentorship forum on Thursday. On Thursday, I was sharing with my students that I was looking for higher prices for that day, and I did not want to see the markets displace below this red box on Nasdaq, this down close candle, and for ES, this sequence of imbalances right here. Meaning as long as these index futures would stay above these ranges, I was anticipating them to draw towards the upside, to draw towards buy-side liquidity objectives. The reason why I'm sharing this now is because this range was actually my point of interest going into the trade that you have just seen me take on Friday. If we take a look at the delivery that occurred, I want you to see the following. I want you to see that on Thursday we ran up higher and we formed the high of the week at this price level right here, near the 20,200 level. We then saw the market begin to gravitate towards the downside and we saw it begin to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is consolidation which is taking place. The market then runs lower and forms this low. During the New York session, we open up and we begin to reprice above the London high initially and above the Asia high. When this occurs, SMT is taking place between Nasdaq and ES, and the market slams towards the downside. It reprices towards the downside aggressively. Notice that we reached that same range as I outlined on Thursday, that down close candle, which is annotated by this red box. And notice that the wick right here goes below it, but notice that the bodies are respecting that price range perfectly. Guys, the wicks do the damage and the bodies tell the story. I went long the moment I saw the market displace away from this red box and I saw bullish institutional order flow step in. This is what I will showcase on the lower time frames. I was anticipating the market to draw back towards that 9:30 open price because at 9:30 the regular trading hours begin. And because my anticipation was that for this day we would likely consolidate, meaning we would likely go back and forth on the hourly chart, I was anticipating the market to consistently gravitate towards that 9:30 open price. Notice that we rejected it right here, slammed lower. We traded above it, but notice that we failed to displace above it and we came back below it again. That right there is a characteristic for a market that's being held inside of a range. This doesn't mean that there aren't any opportunities. It just means that you need to be aggressive when it comes to your partials and such. Before we move into the lower time frames, there's one level which I want you to investigate. It's the following. I've annotated the high of this up close candle and I want you to investigate the high which I've annotated here. Pay attention to this low formation as well. If you have watched my latest trade breakdown lecture, you should understand what I'm referring at and what I'm hinting at. I don't want to discuss it again that much in depth, but pay attention to the time. If we then pay attention to the 5-minute time frame, what I want you to see is that at 9:30, we initially run up higher and we take out the buy side liquidity resting above this high here. ES does not do that and it instead makes a lower high. That is SMT on the highs right here. The market begins to roll over and it draws towards the downside aggressively. Notice, however, that during that sell side of the curve, there was a lot of back and forth going, which took place after 10 AM. This is an original consolidation which is taking place, meaning the market is being held inside of a very tight range to engineer buy side liquidity above these highs right here. When you apply time to this, what you can see is that this was the high that formed between 10 to 11:30. Near the end of this 90-minute cycle, we can see that the market repriced towards the downside, trading into that horizontal line, which I showed on the hourly chart. At 11:16, which is a key time, a low forms. It's just 1 minute outside of a macro window, and that was something I was not a fan of, but we will discuss that on the 1 minute time frame in a bit. The market forms a low, and we see the market then have this long wick and eventually closes towards the upside, and this small BC gets created. Notice that at 11:30, we open up, drop lower, and where do we find support? Inside of that old red price range that I've annotated based on that hourly chart, inside of that point of interest. Notice that this lines up with this BC, which formed this bullish fair value gap. The market reprices towards the upside aggressively, and it trades into this CB right here. CB being a key range to monitor on the left side of the curve. We displace above that, and we then see the market retrace into that CB's price range. Because the underlying idea is that we're likely going to draw back towards that 9:30 open price, or maybe even higher, we anticipate that this CB is going to function as support on price, because we have already seen everything that we had to see in order to confirm that during the launch cycle from 11:30 to 1 p.m, we would likely draw towards buy side liquidity next. Therefore, we anticipate this CB to function as an inversion fair value gap. Notice how the wick right here goes just below it, but notice how the bodies kept on closing inside that CB's price range. The market begins to expand away from that CB, and it draws towards the buy side liquidity, resting above the previous cycle high, the high that formed between 10 to 11:30. Now, what is so significant about this time cycle, you might be wondering? What is very important to understand is that during my latest lecture, in which I explained the topic of time cycles and market swings, I shared with you that during a current cycle, we refer to the high and low of a previous cycle. In this case, what I want you to see is that our point of interest was already reached at the right time during that previous cycle. Therefore, we do not anticipate the market to draw towards that previous cycle low, especially when we displace above key ranges already. When we then, however, see the previous cycle high be engineered below a key level, the 9:30 open price, we can anticipate this to be engineered buy side liquidity. Therefore, I anticipated the launch cycle from 11:30 to 1 p.m. to draw towards that previous cycle high. Notice that it formed right in advance of that 9:30 open price. This is our original consolidation. If we then drop into the 1 minute time frame, what I want you to see is that after 10 a.m, the market is consolidating right here. Buy side liquidity is being engineered above all of these highs. If you look at these highs, you can see that they are relatively equal, and you can see that the trend line can be drawn there. We then see the market drop towards the downside aggressively, and just after that marker from 10:45 to 11:15, we see the low form at 11:16. Market begins to reprice towards the upside, and it displaces above these imbalances right here. BC gets created, and notice that at 11:30 we trade into that BC and then immediately begin to reprice towards the upside. That to me, however, was not the confirmation yet that the low was in. To me, what was the confirmation that the low was in was the following. When we displaced above that red box, which was that range which I already provided on Thursday. Think about this, yes? On Thursday, I provided this very specific price range, yes? From the lower end right here to the higher end, yes? That's a long time in advance of this session. I provided that range, and notice that we displace outside of that range with an imbalance. You tell me, is that right there buying pressure that's stepping in at that moment in time? That's just, okay, look, a lot of buyers are stepping in at this moment in time, and therefore this imbalance right here gets created, and therefore it should function as support and price and then run higher? Or is that the following? Is that knowing that the time is right for it to reprice towards the upside, and therefore discount arrays should get created through very specific ranges? I argue it's the latter. And if you spend a long time with me, if you spend a long time investigating everything that I share, and I know that When you're a YouTube and public student of mine, it might be a bit harder to do so, but there's a lot of content already on my channel, so there's literally no excuse for you to not see what I'm hinting at. But if you would go through all my lectures and such, and you would really pay attention to all the fine details that I'm showcasing to you, you would see how rigged this game is. And apologies for the bad language there. My editor will probably cut that out because else this video might get delisted or something. But guys, just put in the effort. Really, just put in the effort. Investigate the fine details. Pay attention to the fine details. And I'm telling you, you will gain a level of understanding algorithmic price delivery that's absolutely unseen. Because I'm showcasing it to you every single week. So what do we see? We see this bullish value gap get created the moment that price trades away from that red box, once the time is right in order for it to have formed a low in this area. We see the market find support inside that bullish value gap right here, and we then begin to see it run higher, displacing above that 5-minute CB as outlined. If you pay close attention to that CB, what do you see? You see that inside of that CB, there's a 1-minute CB as well. This CB must function as the inversion of the value gap on price, meaning I must see that CB function as support on price. If we would displace below this CB, then to me that would be a sign of weakness. However, what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating the market to draw towards the buy side liquidity resting above this high. I'm anticipating it to draw back towards that 930 open price. What I want you to see is that the market displaces through that CB with a BC right here. We retrace into that and we form this low here. This low right here just steps into that CB and it engineers sell side liquidity. That market then trades away from that CB and it forms this high. We then see the market have one more drop lower, trading into the lower end of this BC right here and into the low of that 5-minute inversion value gap. I went long right here the moment that we traded into this down close candle, and I saw the signs that I was looking for to confirm that we would likely distribute higher from here. Notice that we then displace away from that range and we create this BC and we create this bullish order block. What I want you to see is that the market retraces into this large down close candle and we find support inside of it. Notice that the wicks go below it, but notice that the bodies keep on closing at that level. The reason why that's significant is because that is a showcase to you that the underlying order flow is in fact bullish. We displace away from that bullish order block and the market creates this BC right here. Notice that it retraces into this down close candle again and notice how it's finding support inside of that range consistently. You might be wondering, why is there so much back and forth going in this delivery? Why is the market consolidating like this? The reason why it is consolidating like this is because this trade took place during the launch cycle. One of the characteristics of the launch cycle is that it usually expands, consolidates, expands, consolidates, expands, consolidates, and that's time distortion. And you need to be aware of that when you're looking at the launch cycle. Personally, I do not often look at it, but in this case, because my point of interest was reached near that launch cycle, I knew that the launch cycle would likely expand. So a question that I often get asked, how do you determine whether or not to trade launch? It has to do with whether or not your point of interest gets reached either right in advance of it and during it. Something for your notes over there. But anyhow, we see the market consistently find support inside of the down close candles and it begins to grind towards the upside. Notice how we have this small BC right here that gets created and the market finds support inside of that BC and then expands higher. Notice that we then begin to see the market show the signatures of wanting to draw towards the previous cycle high. Meaning we can see the market is drawing towards that high and it engineers more buy side liquidity right here. I was not a fan of this high formation here, and that has to do with a new 30-minute cycle open up and also S&P with ES taking place on the highs here. That's trade management wise. So I therefore took a partial in this area. We then saw the market eventually begin to run higher and it slowly gravitated towards that previous cycle high. Notice that when we reach that previous cycle high, we see the market just trade above it, trade into the 930 open price, and then eventually begin to roll over. What I want you to take away from this breakdown is that when you have a key level that you're monitoring and you see it get reached at the right time, that by itself is not enough. What you need to wait for is you need to wait for IPDA to show its hand to you. IPDA shows its hand to you the moment it begins to displace through very specific ranges that you're monitoring. That is a key takeaway from this breakdown. With that being said, this breakdown comes to an end. I hope that you found it insightful. If you want to see more content like this, please leave a like and comment. I would highly appreciate it. And I look forward to catching up with you in the next one. Be safe.